Boker Tov, good morning. Today's Hoshana Rabbah, the last day of Sukkot, and tonight is Shmini Atzeret, is the 8th day Atzeret. Why is it called Shmini Atzeret? And I think actually there's a great lesson to be derived from that the sages and indeed the medievalists have, that applies to our present situation, my friends. Shmini Atzeret, Atzor means to halt, to stop. And so one interpretation is, and the primary interpretation is, that in the 8th day, Atzeret, you also have to stop doing Melacha. You can't, it's Yom Tov, and you can't do certain things. Not just the first day, but the last day is also a Yom Tov. That's what's being taught by that phrase. And yet, the Midrash reads it differently. Firstly, the way it's presented in the Gemara, and then the Midrash understands that, looks at the 70 sacrifices that were brought over the course of Sukkot, understands and sees them as related to the 70 nations of the world. And says the Gemara in Sukkah, the 70 sacrificial animals connected shivim umot par yechidi. So why is it that if they have 70 over the course of the festival, then on Shmini Atzeret there's just one that's brought? Keneged Uma Yechida, that parallels the one singular nation, and it's compared to a melech, to a king who said to his servant, "Make me a giant feast." And at the end of that, after the length of time of the feast, he said to one of his dearest ones, "Aseli suda katana, make me a small meal, so that kadesha enem imcha, that I can just sit and enjoy being with you and from you." And so that Sukkot was busy as the universal holiday. Shmini Atzeret is the individualistic holiday of the Jewish people, the singularness of the Jewish people. That's what's set forth there in the Gemara and then in the Midrash as well. But you come to Rashi and the medievalists, and it shifts. And it stops thinking about the king with all the nations, and it suddenly becomes the king and his children. Atzeret, who it's referred to as the day to halt. I had you stop here, like a king who invited his children to be with him for a length of time. When the time came for them to leave, Amar Banai b'vakasha mikem, he said, "My children, please, I ask you, ikvu imi od yom echad, stay with me just one more day. Kashe alai peredatchem, your departure, your separation is really hard for me." God says, I just, stay one more day of Yontif so we can just have a little more time together. And the Bechor Shor puts it, I think, in a much even more powerful way. And presents basically in a midrashic kind of formulation. Compare it to a father who had his family with him, or a parent who had his family with him, and he said, "Okay, when are you coming back next?" And they said, "We'll be back in 50 days." And he says, "Okay, l'chu l'shalom, then go in peace." And then they come back in 50 days, and they spend their time with him. And he says, "Okay, when are you coming back next?" And they say, "We're back in 4 months." Oh, 4 months. Okay, I can handle that. L'chu l'shalom, go in peace. And they come back in 4 months, and you can see the parallel. You should understand. Pesach to Shavuos is 50 days. Shavuos to Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, Sukkot, 4 months. They come back and they spend their time, and then God says, "Okay." The parent says, "When are you coming back?" Matai tachzaru, and they say, "Oh, it's difficult. Yesh lanu ones. We have a lot of things which are oppressing and difficult. We're not going to come back for 6-7 months. 6-7 months. That's a long time. That's the time from Sukkot to Pesach, right? Im kain takvu adayin yom echad. So he says, please, if that's the case, just I beg of you, stay a little longer. That I can, I think it means that I can sort of be filled by seeing you a little longer. That's the imagery. So it's Pesach, it leads to Shavuos leads to Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, but Kippur to Sukkot, and Sukkot to Pesach, that whole difficult time, that's just too much. We need a little, just give us one more moment together, he begs, and they stay a little longer. I'm feeling that. I don't know if you are feeling that, but I'm feeling that. I felt it yesterday as the chill wind of Thursday came through, and at our outdoor minyan, and feeling that, recognizing the gift that we have had, even in all of this nightmarish reality, over these past few months, to have had great weather, relatively great weather, to be able to have outdoor minyanim, with COVID relatively controlled around the community, and we're able to be together in our separate togetherness, and through Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, which was just, again, awkward and difficult on one level, but in many ways quite beautiful, that we could feel that connectedness. Through to Sukkot, it's the same way. And now the chill is coming, and we recognize that it's not going to be able to go on for that much longer. Hopefully, we will push it through October, maybe even into November. We can maintain our outdoor minyanim, and we're going to try to go indoors. We'll have to really see how numbers change. God forbid, in the larger community, in the Orthodox community, whether that's going to inhibit our ability to be indoors. But we're working on some plans, and if things are calm, then we'll be able to employ them with some places that we can be. But it's possible that we're not going to even be able to do that. We don't know yet what the next few weeks will bring. And so there's the onus. There is that sense of pressure and difficulty, and kasher alai. It's hard to imagine our separating. And I'm not saying this for us to then to now just to all be depressed. But we're not. It's not lost on us that with the cold coming that we've had these past few months is going to perhaps be diminished. So, my friends, tomorrow is Shmini Atzeres, Sunday is Simchas Torah. We have minyanim that are happening outdoors, and we have the streets of White Plains we'll be walking down. Let's take the extra opportunity to appreciate what we have together. We'll try to push it in the weeks ahead too, God willing, if the weather can hold. And then we'll do it on Zoom and all the other ways. But to appreciate the gift of each other, the love we have for each other, the kehillah, the community that we have. Let that be the lesson of Shmini Atzeret, and let us really appreciate it and take it in, the Simchat Yom Tov, and the joy of this festival, and the specialness of our being together as much as we can in the way that we are. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom and a Chag Sameach.